Hi, I'm Gordon Greathouse, and this is my wife, Teca. We are United Methodist missionaries that have been serving in Brazil since 1978.
We are involved in social work with children since we came to Brazil. Now we are involved with a program that's called the Shade and Fresh Water.
This is a network of local Methodist churches that work with children and teenagers at risk. Teca is the national coordinator.
Through the Shade and Fresh Water network, hundreds of volunteers help thousands of children in need.
This has been possible thanks to a partnership with Methodists from the United States, Great Britain, and Germany. They, along with the United Church of Canada, have provided us with funds, volunteers, and supplies that make a real difference. Each year, mission teams help us build churches, classrooms, and sports areas to serve the community. The special partnership with the Virginia Annual Conference has been fundamental for the development of this network.
This is truly a project where people from different countries have joined hands to do God's work.
Watch this video, and then we want to invite you to be part of this ministry.
Children are priority number one for the Methodist Church in Brazil. The project Shade and Fresh Water was organized as a national network to help local churches develop educational activities for children and teenagers as an alternative to the street in situations of risk. Local churches are challenged to organize extracurricular activities for children and teenagers between 6 and 14 years of age. These activities contribute to their physical, intellectual, emotional, social, and spiritual development. The primary goal is to form the character and values of the children and teenagers, and to offer them better conditions of life, enabling their development as people and citizens.
O sentimento é de pertença, não é sentimento mais.
When children come to our projects, they arrive missing many things. Very soon they feel part of something. They are no longer alone in the world. Here, someone cares and values them. This feeling of belonging is critical to their psychological and spiritual development. It helps structure their lives because they feel valued and a part of a group. Shade and Fresh Water is a seed that God placed in our hands to transform our neighborhoods.
The name Shade and Fresh Water comes from a popular saying that reflects people's desire for relief and new life. The project wants to offer to children and teenagers at risk a place of protection, nourishment, and new life. The teachers are volunteers that receive training and material to develop activities in Christian education, tutoring, sports and recreation, citizenship, holistic health, culture and artistic expression, as well as access to computer education. By 2009, the Shade and Fresh Water Network had 55 projects throughout Brazil that work with more than 3,000 children and teenagers. The network is coordinated through a national committee that meets regularly to evaluate the progress of individual projects and the network as a whole. The Shade and Fresh Water project was designed to respond to the deep historical and economic problems of Brazil and to embody a Methodist understanding of the gospel.
A Igreja Metodista deu uma definição assim.
Our church made a decision that to be a Methodist means we are to be a blessing. Shade and Fresh Water is a good way of being a blessing.
Brazil's problems are rooted in the history of a wealthy elite that does not respond to the needs of its people. Whether it was the gold, diamonds, and sugar of the colonial period, or the meat, soybeans, coffee, or iron ore of today, the people who work long hours to produce Brazil's wealth reap few of its benefits. Starting in the 1950s, Brazil went through a process of rapid urbanization. 2/3 of the rural population moved to the cities in one generation. Today, Brazil has a higher urban population than the United States. This rapid exodus created enormous problems. Rural migrants were left without adequate housing or sanitation, and had little access to schools or jobs. Parents leave their children at home to care for themselves, while they work long hours to make ends meet. By the 1980s, hundreds of thousands of street children were in the city centers. As they became a nuisance, death squads began exterminating thousands each year to clean up the streets. Because of that, new laws were passed and voluntary organizations worked to offer a different future. Today, fewer children and teenagers sleep on the streets, but drugs and crime have become the great challenge. Drug gangs control many poor neighborhoods.
A violência tá grande, né?
When my children leave home, I'm always concerned what can happen to them. There are so many problems with drugs and violence.